Hey there, and welcome to the very first episode of Comic Geek Speak. My name is Brian, and with me here is Peter.
Hello.
And we've been reading comic books forever. I'm going on. Well, geez, I must have been reading comic books since I was in about 6th grade, so 1986. So that's 19 years now. So I know a thing or two. And Peter, what's your story?
I've been reading, I guess if you count the Richie Rich stuff, that's going back in the 70s. But superhero stuff, probably since, I think it's 1982, I want to say. 1981, 1982.
So you have me beat by a few years, but and you definitely know more than I do, as we've proven in the many trivia games that we've had, which we'll get into more detail later.
Cool.
So we just thought, I've been checking out podcasts for a couple of weeks now, and I haven't seen any comic book related podcasts, so we figured, hey, let's do it because somebody else will if we don't. So we'll beat them to the punch, and maybe you'll end up listening to us for a long time. So we thought maybe we'd start just going over, as a jumping point here, some of the books that just shipped this last week. But it seemed to be a really small week.
Very small week.
We went through and wrote down some of the DC and Marvel stuff that came out. And man, there's not a lot. I think this week I only got 2 books. No, maybe only 1 book. I got Marvel Team Up number 6, which that series has been fantastic. If you're not reading it, you really should check it out. Robert Kirkman is the writer, and he's doing this great thing. It's not just Spidey and somebody, Spidey and somebody, Spidey and somebody like the old team up. It's every week or every month he's got different people teaming up, and there's this broad, sweeping storyline that I don't think we'll know all the details to for about 2 or 3 years. You get, like, in one issue, Moon Knight showed up for 1 page, 1 panel, and that was it. And you're like, okay, what's happening with Moon Knight? And we won't know for, well, I guess actually the
next issue.
Moon Knight issue comes out next, but he's really sprinkling stuff in there, and it's very, very good.
You know, already on a tangent, it reminds me of the whole Justice League Unlimited cartoon, now that you mentioned it like that, where it's new characters every week, old, new characters, and there's this underlying plot that seems to be going on with the whole government and the Galatea character. But, it's got a broad story, and I think it's going to pay off nicely whenever it ends.
Yeah, I hope he ends up writing it for a long time, because I read an interview on Newsarama with Kirkman before the series started, and he said that he had years of stories plotted or whatever. So let's hope he.
Well, I hear good things
stays on.
and I hear good things about his Invincible too from Image. I know they hit that one. They say it's one of the best superhero books out there right now. So
cool.
Like he's pretty cool.
What did you buy this week, Pete?
What did I get this week? I'm a little more spread out. I got Deadshot 4, which is a 5-issue miniseries. Fallen Angel 19, which is a Peter David run. It's the second to last issue. It has a George Perez cover, who's basically my favorite artist, of course.
Yeah, I know this, but the listeners do not.
Right.
Pete,
you'll find out all this stuff as we go.
If there's anything that has anything to do with Perez, Peter will buy it. It could be like an $80 hardcover of old Western comics from the 50s, but if Perez does a pinup, Peter has to buy it. He's compelled.
Put it this way: Spawn #1, George Perez pinup. There were a couple of, I think it was like Youngblood it was like a yearbook or something like that, had another pinup of his. Got that one too.
That's sad if you're buying Youngblood.
Come on.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Sorry.
Although I do have some I'm trying to dump on eBay and nobody's buying them, so I'm guilty too.
Well, I got rid of about 40 issues for $10 if you want to go cheap on eBay. Oh, what else? It's like the 80s. We got the X-Men Age of Apocalypse coming back, although I'm not getting it, but it certainly...
That was in the 90s, Peter.
It was the 90s. Yeah, it was the 90s, wasn't it?
It was like 95 or something.
Well, it's like
I think that's
Home Away from Home, though. What else? Captain America Falcon, the latest issue of that. I think that's only got one more. Christopher Priest writing that book. They're trying to focus more on Captain America himself in his own series, so that's ending, which is a shame because I think Christopher Priest is an underrated.
I ordered the first
writer.
trade of that, and I didn't get it yet.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping
it's a little,
that should come soon.
I know he said on his website that the Bart Sears artwork in that, he kind of was okay with it. He kind of wished there was it would have been a little more specific, but I guess now Joe Bennett is doing it, who's also doing Birds of Prey and Hawkman, I think, right now.
3 books.
I think.
It's a lot
I'm
of
pretty
books.
sure Birds of Prey is different. Well, this one's done. Captain America Falcon, he's probably done with that already. Jeez, what else? Oh, Firestorm 11. But really nothing that's like... Nothing sticking out, though.
I see Ultimate Spidey shipped. That's one of my absolute favorite books, but I didn't buy this issue because I'm in the waiting for trade category now. Almost all the books that I read, I'm just waiting for trade. I got Marvel Team Up 6 because that ends the first 6-issue storyline, which will then be collected in trade, so I'll stop buying it. I won't buy issue number 7 because then that'll be the first trade that I buy, 7 through 12 or whatever they do. So my weekly comic buying list has dropped and dropped and dropped. I think in the month of previews I just put in, I only have 4 comics for the entire month. Everything else was trades.
Wow.
So,
yeah. And we could certainly, I know there's a huge debate about that, the whole, what does that do to the industry and not picking up books every week, but I think, if anything, I think it helps. What else? There's also the contemporary Teen Titans Toys second wave, Kid Flash, Ravager, Superboy, Brother Blood, DC Direct, I think, is about, like 80%. Other stuff is good, maybe 70.
Yeah, if they would stand up.
If they would stand up.
I have all these, JSA figures that I purchased like 5 years ago, and almost none of them stand up. They're all leaning against the wall. They should come with those stands. Like the Marvel toys are awesome. They got these stands and they got the little pegs, and you can pose them in different places. DC should at least come out just include a 5-cent little plastic stand. You're making me pay $15 or $16 for a figure. It should stand up straight. Like the Dr. Fate toy, I remember, has one leg is longer than the other one.
Really?
So you can't stand it up by itself. Even if you had a peg, it would be hard-pressed to stand up.
Well, they do look nice, though. That's one thing I have to say. Against some of the Marvel Legends, where some of those articulations, like in their gut and in their neck, and
it does get a bit excessive.
Yeah.
Cool. But they're cheap. They're $8.
True.
So I can buy 2 for the price of 1. So
very true. Cool.
Well, that kind of sums up what came out this week. A very, very small week. But
now... I'll say this,
go ahead, Pete.
Legend number 1 came out. It's a 4-issue miniseries by Howard Chaykin. And it's about the... I think it's Howard Chaykin, now that I said that. It's about... I'm going to forget what it is. It's the Gladiator? Gladiator, is that it? It's basically the story that Superman is based off of. The old... I think the character is Hugo something or other. I forget. Now I'm totally blanking. We'll have to edit this. But it's a retelling of the book or the story that the creators of Superman actually used part of this story to create Superman. So they're actually getting it into a super comic, and I thought, Howard Chaykin is kind of hit and miss sometimes, but sometimes stuff's really good and strong. So maybe with this kind of source material, he can really do something kind of cool with it. So I thought I'd just throw that out there.
Well, that's good. I don't think I'll be reading that one.
No.
But, you can enjoy it.
I didn't pick it up, actually, either.
Oh, so you're pimping it out, but you're not buying it.
I got to wait for the trade.
Uh-oh. All right, we're going to start, this is our first episode here, but we are going to have a feature that we're going to do every week. Or we might do these more than once a week, but we're going to shoot for once a week at first. But anyway, Peter has written an exceptional comic book trivia game. He's got thousands of questions.
Over 3,600 questions.
That's a lot of questions.
That's more than Star Wars, I think, the true.
Oh, absolutely. Way more. And we play it. It's broken down to Marvel and DC, and the 6 categories, similar to Trivial Pursuit. We actually took a Trivial Pursuit board. Well, Peter and our buddy Kevin took a Trivial Pursuit board and found pictures on the internet or scanned in comics or what have you, and pasted them all on to a Trivial Pursuit board and made them all colored so that they're all like the colors, and it's awesome. And we play this game. We use HeroClix figures to play because we don't have little official little pie pieces for our Trivial Pursuit. And we play Trivial Pursuit with comic book trivia questions. And let me tell you, it's friggin' impossible. The questions are so hard. For me, anyway.
Oh, I was going to say.
You'd never know. When we play this game, you would never know that I've been reading comics for 19 years. I can't remember anything. What color is Wonder Woman's belt? And I have no idea. No idea. But everybody else knows all the answers, so I play along, and I get 1 or 2 questions right a game, and I'm very proud of myself, and everyone else answers all the other questions. So I thought, I'm going to try to stump Peter. Now, I could have been really nasty, and I could have taken... some obscure comic. He's more of a DC guy. I'm more of a Marvel guy. So I could have taken some obscure Marvel comic from the 80s, and I could have dug through and said, what was the cab driver's name? But I didn't do that. I sat down with my DC Encyclopedia, which if you do not have this, the DK Publishing DC Encyclopedia just came out last year, 2004 sometime. Yeah. It is awesome. It's about $40. It's worth every penny without question. So I sat through that, and I came up with 3 trivia questions that I'm going to ask Peter, and we're going to see if I can't stump the Rios here. Stump the Rios. That's a little homage to Howard Stern here. We're both huge Howard fans, and they do a bit called Stump the Buoy, and so we're going to do Stump the Rios. All right, question number 1, Peter. Are you ready?
Go for it.
All right. What villain made his first appearance in Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen, issue 139, in December of 1970?
Oof. I want to say Darkseid, but I think that's too early. I think that's too early for the whole New Gods. I think that was later in the 70s. So, yeah, that's a stumper. I don't know. Unless it's Darkseid.
That Darkseid is correct.
It is?
Ding, ding, ding.
I didn't think it was that early. Wow.
1970.
Huh.
All right, question number 2. Name all 7 members of the original Freedom Fighters.
Okay, so that'd be Uncle Sam, Human Bomb, Phantom Lady, Doll Man, Black Condor, Ray, and Firebrand? Or who am I missing here? Said Black Condor. I think it's Firebrand. Right?
Well, let me tell you, I don't know. We might have to go grab the encyclopedia and consult this here because
what do you have?
I have Uncle Sam,
right?
Our Man 1, Invisible Justice, Mango, Miss America, Neon the Unknown, and Red Torpedo.
So this is the original Freedom Fighters, which I want to say was a kind of like a retroactive kind of thing, an All-Star Squadron. It was like an 80s series with Roy Thomas. And there was a team of original Freedom Fighters, and then what happened is like a lot of them died or something like that, and then this other team took over. So unless that also happened like back in the 40s and 50s, I think those were Charlton characters before they came over to DC. So yeah, you are right. I mean, yeah, but that's cool. That's an interesting,
You can add that to your trivia game.
I'll have to, I'll look
Compliments
that up.
of me.
Thanks.
I'll never know the answer. It won't matter. All right, third and final question. What villain's secret identity is Sandra Wusan?
That would be Lady Shiva.
That's correct.
Yeah. Cool.
Very good. Well, 2 out of 3.
Yeah,
as Meatloaf would say, that ain't bad. And, well, do you have anything else to say?
Do we want to talk about inviting, if anybody...
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Please, if you have a trivia question, Marvel or DC, some independent stuff too. Neither of us read a ton of like the really obscure independents, but if it's some Dark Horse, maybe some Image questions, we might be able to answer that. But email the questions to me. Our email address is comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. Send us an email. In the subject of the email, make sure you label it trivia question or something like that, because we both check the email, and if you don't label it, then Peter might open that email, and then it won't be any fun because he'll already know the answer. So make sure you address him comic trivia question, and then we'll go through the email. I'll go through the email, and I'll find good questions, and I'll ask Peter, and we'll see if you can't stump the Rios as well.
Sounds good.
All right, well, I think that's a good bit for our first show. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully you'll check us out when we return in about a week or so.
See ya.
Have a good one.